Hey, this is Mariela from the Functional Company. All right, so today I want to talk about fruit. Is fruit healthy? So my response is going to be yes and no. It depends on a few different factors, but remember, I'm looking at this through the window of blood sugar and how fruit affects blood sugar. Because yes, fruit does have certain nutrients, but if we consume too much fruit, it does have a negative effect or a downside, okay? So we want to find the fruits that have the least amount of sugar and the most amount of nutrients, which tend to be the berries, okay? Berries are the ones that are more easily, beneficial for the body. It has a lot of nutrients that the body can utilize. And it has the least amount of sugar overall. And if you add a quantity of berries, a small quantity of berries, and then you add, for example, cream, right, which has a nice fatty substance, then that's going to be a lot better than just having the fruit on its own or the fruit with granola and honey, because then we're having sugar with sugar and sugar. And that's going to be a sugar bomb basically for the body. It's going to have more downsides than positive side of it, okay? So that's the thing. If you haven't watched my video on blood sugar, I highly recommend it. It's one of my earliest videos you can find on YouTube on the Functional Co. Channel, and you can just check that out because it's very important, or on a podcast. And so basically what we want to say is that fruit does have nutrients. That's one of the justifications people have, right? Is to say, hey, this is a natural thing. I'm not eating refined sugar. I'm not eating candy. And I'm like, yes, you're right. It does have nutrients. But remember, in the body, it is what it is, right? And what it is nutrients with sugar. And it has fructose as well, right? So that's the main kind of sugar that it has, is fructose. So on the one hand, fructose is a kind of sugar that is more processed by the liver, okay? And the liver doesn't like to process too much of it. It gets overwhelmed relatively easily with this. So if you consume too much fructose, it's going to put a heavy demand on the liver, and the liver is going to say, you know what, I can't do this right now, and it pushes it into fat storage. So that's one downside. We actually end up accumulating some fat, whether it's fatty liver or fat in some other area of the body, because of too much fructose, right? Which is an interesting kind of little tidbit there. So we don't want to over-consume fruit. It doesn't mean you can never have it, right? We just want to select the kinds of fruits, and we want to really limit the quantity, and we want to make sure we're not putting honey and granola into these things, because now we're just compounding the issue, right? So we want to keep, I personally prefer berries because they're lower in sugar and they have a higher number of nutrients, right? And I still limit it. I'm not going to have a huge bowl of berries. I'm just going to have a certain quantity of them, right? Like a limited quantity of them. And so the other thing with this is that if you notice, if you've ever had a bowl of fruit, is that you'll eat it and you're so happy and you feel so much energy, and then about an hour later you're hungry. Have you ever noticed that? It's not actually satisfying. It doesn't give you sustainable fuel for a long period of time. It creates this yo-yo effect in your blood sugar, and that is a huge issue, because then you have more cravings. And now you were like, well, I already ate a bowl of fruit. Now I'm going to have granola. Now I'm going to have this other thing. And then you're slowly creeping into other sugars and carbohydrates, because it's a huge, it's like a snowball effect, right? It's an avalanche that you're creating, but you're thinking you're doing something healthy. And, my favorite fruit, for example, is mango. But mango is so sugary. It's something that there's no way I could eat that. If I ate that every single week, I would have so many sugar cravings, simply because of what I'm doing inside of the body. I'm stimulating too much insulin. I'm creating this huge yo-yo effect in my blood sugar. So it might be a treat I'll have every once in a while, but I'm definitely not going to have it on a weekly basis, right? So that's the kind of thing. It's like with apples, the green apple tends to have less sugar than the red apple. So you kind of want to practice by just looking on Google, how many grams of carbohydrates does your quantity of fruit have? Remember, we don't want to have too many grams of sugar, of carbohydrates, okay? So there's a lot more episodes that I have on that subject, but I just want to mention this time around, the main reason we want to limit the quantity of fruit that we're consuming is because of the effect that it has on our blood sugar, which creates more cravings, less satisfaction overall with our meals. And it also creates more demand on the liver, and then it turns it into fat, which creates a little bit more of the fatty liver situation, which people are seeing now, which is a non-alcoholic fatty liver substance situation. And this is coming from the overloading of fructose that people are having in their diets, from agave nectar to something like too much fruit. Okay, so these are the things that you just want to watch and I want to share with you. Does it mean you can never have it? No, it just means let's just get a little bit more educated, find out how much, and then limit how much each fruit has in terms of grams of carbohydrates, and then limit the quantity in your servings so you can still enjoy it without the negative effects of it, right? All right, so thanks so much for tuning in. That's what I have to say, and I will see you on the flip side. Hey, if you're liking the information on this channel, don't forget to subscribe, click the button, and share this with your friends and family. We've got lots more information coming. Thanks so much for being here.